Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the Kingdom Hearts series. In particular, the whole conversation of, do you have to play all of the games? It's actually very similar to the whole conversation I had about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or whether or not you need to watch all the movies. It's almost like the exact argument. And in the grand scheme of things, I would say, yes, you have to play all of the Kingdom Hearts games. It's not that situation of like, can I play like 1, 2, and 3 and get the story? It's like, if you wanted to, you can get the most bare minimum broad strokes about what the games are if you play 1, 2, and 3. Once again, this comes from someone who only played 1, 2, and 3, but the other games I picked up the story because obviously, you know, if you're unaware, the other games in the series, 1, 2, and 3 are the only ones that were ever on main home platforms like the PlayStation 2, and obviously when it comes to like Kingdom Hearts 3 being on the Xbox One and the PS4, but all the other ones were on different systems, whether it be, you know, a Game Boy, the DS, the 3DS, the PSP, so on and so forth, and obviously in the Union Cross example, you know, a mobile game. So obviously, like a lot of the games, most of the games spread across different platforms, other, you know, gaming things, but it's like, you know, 3 gives you enough of the bare bones of what's going on that if you didn't play the other games, you slightly kind of get filled in, but legitimately, you need to play all of the games, because I think a mentality a lot of people have, it's like, well, because it's on a different system, it's not called 2 or 3. It's like, no, that, like, it's like, oh, Chain of Memories, it's like, it's not Kingdom Hearts 2, so it doesn't matter. Which, this is also coming from someone who played Kingdom Hearts 2, never playing Chain of Memories. When you break down the Chain of Memories storyline, it's like, honestly, it kind of fits narratively, because it's like, well, Sora, Donald and Goofy, and Jiminy don't remember any of the events of Chain of Memories. I mean, to be fair, Riku and Mickey definitely do, you know, but because Kingdom Hearts 2 is your first full-blown introduction to the organization. Obviously, if you're not familiar with Kingdom Hearts, this sounds like complete and utter gibberish, but the fact of the matter is, like, yes, there's leeway that could let you, but it's like, honestly, you'd enjoy it so much more because there's so much lore and story in those games that it's not like a thing of like, oh, those games don't matter. I can honestly tell you, there is not a single Kingdom Hearts game that has nothing to it. You can't even say that about the mobile game. Literally, the mobile game, because at first you'd be like, Birth by Sleep is literally the catalyst that set everything in motion in the story that is the Kingdom Hearts games. But then you know, once Union X kind of got thrown in there, which I'm thinking that's the proper titling for, I could be 100% wrong, but you know, that game is the real catalyst because it shows you the Keyblade War and what transpires. I mean, like, so much in Union X is going to play a big role in as to why Kingdom Hearts is going to be where it is. Like, you know, there's a big reveal at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 that it's like, if it wasn't for like Union X, it's like that won't, like, I didn't have the, you know, information from Union X like I could have, but like 3's ending makes even more sense to me now because I have the now context of Union X and being like, oh, that's what that is about. I figured it was when I originally saw the ending, but I'm like, oh, but now it makes a little bit more sense. And granted, I still don't have the context of everything just based on the movie, and the movie doesn't 100% give you all the information, and it gives you some of it, so it's still a thing of like, I should play the game just to get the full scope of everything. The movie's more like an introduction. It's kind of like a setting stage, kind of letting you know what led to a lot of the events that amongst the main characters, but I still feel like there's bits of the story because the actual Keyblade War itself is something that wasn't necessarily covered, but I'm sure I think in the actual game itself, it is covered. But regardless, once again, that's me kind of getting to the ins and outs of like the whole Kingdom Hearts situation. Once again, if you're not into Kingdom Hearts, it won't mean anything to you. But like I said, it's not like those other games on those other systems were side stories. Their main plot, and like I said, there's nothing in those games that's like, oh, that means nothing. It's like everything means something. Everything plays a role because all those stories lead to different things and lead, you know, even if it's something that has like the smallest part, like it plays the biggest role in Kingdom Hearts 3. You can make the argument, it's like, well, what about 358 Days Over 2? What does that mean? Because the grand scheme of things is like, that's just about the organization of Roxas before the events of Kingdom Hearts 2. It's like, yes, but that introduces a character and that story. That whole Shion situation plays such a crucial crucial role because it plays into Axel's stories, it plays into Roxas's story, it plays into the circumstances that led to Roxas being in that final confrontation with Riku. Spoilers for Kingdom Hearts, I'm sorry. But it's that situation of like so much stuff is tied together. I mean, that's a big part of the games. Connection, and everything is connected. Now, this is coming from someone who is a fan of this series. Like, once again, I've talked about it before. The term convoluted gets used a lot. Now, me personally, I mean, this comes from people who are big fans to people who are intermediate level fans will use the term convoluted. In the grand scheme of things, as someone who's kind of recently run through a lot of the games for the first time, like I said, I knew the story because I watched other people play, but now having played them for the first time, and running through the story and like, you know, already taking what I know, but learning a little bit more that like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time when it came to the story. Now having like the full context of this part of the series, because obviously there's future Kingdom Hearts projects in the work and stuff like that. You know, Tetsuya Nomura has come out to be like, you know, plans and stuff like that for the future and whatnot for the Kingdom Hearts series. But where things stand right now with all 10 games, the story across these 10 different games, so much more makes so much more of it makes even more sense when you look at everything from a big picture. Once you have the full picture, it's like all the details start lining up. You're like, okay, like I didn't understand that before, but now that makes a lot more sense now. So it's that type of situation. So for me personally, I don't feel like Kingdom Hearts is as convoluted as people think. I can see people's argument about it being convoluted. I won't fight people on that, but for me, like, I don't think it's as convoluted as people. Like, they make it like, oh, it's impossible to understand. It's like, honestly, it's not. Like, once you piece stuff together, like this, and this, it's a lot, sure, but me, I'm one of those people who really dives in and it's like, oh, this leads to this, and it's like, oh, nobodies and Heartless being defeated recreates the person. It's like, I live for that. I'm like, I nerd out about that. That's kind of my cup of tea when you kind of like, when so much stuff is kind of stitched together. That's why I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe the way I do. I love the Arrowverse because of that. It's like all these little details and the continuity thing. Like, when it comes to universe building and stuff like that, I get a little nutty about it and I love it. It's just like, oh, this means this and this, oh, this is the reason why this happened. Like, I love that. And I think that's why like the MCU, like I said, the Arrowverse, and even the Kingdom Hearts game resonate, because Kingdom Hearts is like the first game I've ever really like had dive so deeply into a lore. Like, what Kingdom Hearts is to me is what Resident Evil is to some people. Obviously, you know, what Devil May Cry is to some people. Like, obviously, I feel like it's not as extensive because, like, Kingdom Hearts kind of goes in. But, you know, I mean, I think Resident Evil will be like a good comparison because that's a long-running series and there's been multiple games taking place at different points in this particular timeline. Like, Kingdom Hearts kind of falls in that same category. Once again, like I said, this is coming from someone who is biased in this whole situation. So I'm like, I want you to like absorb all of the story. Like, if you know, even if someone wasn't really into the Kingdom Hearts games, no. They're like, I like some of the games, I don't like all of them. It's like, I don't care. Just play them all. I mean, because honestly, like, it's so much easier now. Like, obviously, there's an argument before, like I said, because I didn't have access to all the different video game consoles that the games were on. It's like, now it's kind of all been packaged for you because it's like, the story so far, there's, which has like, 9 of the 10 games. The only game it doesn't have is Kingdom Hearts 3 because it came out before Kingdom Hearts 3. But there is a packaging I remember coming across like a while back before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out that's basically all 10 games. I say 10 games, but really it's like, well, there's like 7 main games and there's 3 movies. Technically 2.5 because, like I said, Union X is kind of, I don't feel like it's the full-blown movie like 358 Days Over 2 and RE Coded was, you know? But you get like 7 games. You get Kingdom Hearts 1, RE Chain of Memories, you get 2, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and 0.2, The Fragmented Passage. So you get that, like I said, plus the 3 movies, 358 Days Over 2, RE Coded, and the Union X movie. So to me, I'm like, they kind of make it easy for you. It's like that packaging exists, so I kind of dive in. Once again, it's that whole thing of like, yeah, for some, if you're not really into something, it's that whole argument, like I said, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, I'm asking you to dedicate yourself to 22, 23 films at this point in time to kind of do some homework, especially if you've only seen some here and there. But I'm like, it's so good and it's so worth it. But at the same time, that's because Kingdom Hearts resonates with me because it's 3 things that I love. I love Final Fantasy. I'm a big fan of Disney stuff, and I love JRPG. So it's like that's my jam. So it's like everything about those games resonate with me. And also, you know, what people might consider the cheesy stuff with it. And even though people say cheesy, it's cheesy for some people, but they still love the cheesiness that is, you know, it's like friendship and power and connections, like all that's cheesy for some people, but they still enjoy it. I don't even refer to it as cheesy because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I have a guilty pleasure and something. It's like, no, I fully embrace, like, I love everything that is the Kingdom Hearts. I don't look at it as like cheesy. I just like, there's so much heart to it, which I know that's funny to say with just Kingdom Hearts and everything. You get what I'm saying though. It's just, there's so much to that, like, yes, you need to play every game. Because if you didn't, you literally wouldn't know what some, like a great example would be Birth by Sleep. If you miss Birth by Sleep, Terra, Aqua, and Ventus have like the most tragic story of any characters. I mean, granted, there's a lot of tragedy in the Kingdom Hearts series, but like they are like, that trio has some of the most tragic stories, and it's like they make a point to be like, yeah, Ventus, Aqua, and Terra have like a tragic story, and it's up to Sora to kind of mend, you know, that sadness and kind of help them mend that hurt, you know? And so if that, what they went through won't, like, when things play out, that relationship won't mean as much to you if you don't know Birth by Sleep's story. So, you know, plus at the same time, it's like, it's story-wise, but also, you know, gameplay-wise, I think they're very fun and enjoyable games on top of that. It's not just the story, which obviously the story is a big part of it, but I think at the same time, they're just fun games in general. It's not like I'm saying like, oh, just play them for games and kind of skip the cutscenes. It's like, no, it's a package deal. Watch the play the games and watch the cutscenes. That's, you know, once again, it's just like, this is just, because this is something I really love. I do love the Kingdom Hearts series, and I'm very passionate about it. I mean, the Kingdom Hearts series has been in a good chunk of my life. I was like 10 years old, 10 or 11 when Kingdom Hearts 1 came out, and I'm like 27 now. So Kingdom Hearts has been a part of my life for 17 years. Which is nuts to think about, and it's going to be a part of my life even more because I've literally grown up with this series, you know. So that's why I think it hits that spot for me as well. It's just, you know, so like I said, I'm going off on this huge tangent and whatnot. In the comments down below, I'd love to get to know your discussion about this. If you are someone who has, you know, been a part, you know, do like the Kingdom Hearts games, like how many of the Kingdom Hearts games have you played? Are you someone who has only played like 1, 2, and 3, like the main ones? Were you under the impression that the other games were side plot and not just main plot? Because I feel like not everyone, like I feel like if you're in the know with the Kingdom Hearts games, you're like, oh no, that's not side plot. But I think a lot of people think just because they were on different platforms, they were on like the main, like big platforms like the PlayStation 2 or whatever, that they weren't like main stories because they didn't have a number in their title, that they were kind of side plots. Because like, you know, I don't want anyone to think like, you know, Kingdom Hearts isn't like Final Fantasy where each game is like a new story. It's like, no, it's all one giant narrative, you know? So I'm curious where a lot of people's, like I said, positions are with this. Like, did they only play a few? Have you played all of them? Let me know. Also, let me know your favorite ones. I'm all about talking about Kingdom Hearts. I made a video talking about, like, I'm ready to talk about Final Fantasy X if you want to. I'm ready to talk about some Kingdom Hearts if you want to. Like, it's just one of those things I'm very passionate about. It's one of those series I just love. So let me know all your thoughts and how you're feeling in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about tonight. So maybe be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.